How does your media product represent particular social groups? Our media product represents a variety of social groups. One example is gender. In the film I Am Legend, which was the inspiration for our movie, the main protagonist is played by a male. Therefore, we use the idea of having a male play the protagonist and role of a survivor in our own media product. It is traditional in media to see men and not women as typically the main actors in films rather than the opposite way around. Our media product therefore conforms this stereotype as our lead character of a single survivor is played by a male actor. This also seems to coincide with the stereotypical view of females as being weaker and less able to support themselves, unlike men who are seen to be much stronger and more powerful. This influenced our decision to only have male actors play the different roles of the survivor, news reporter and zombie in our film. The male protagonist in our film opening also acquires the characteristics of a stereotypical male in the fact that it is typical to associate males with the attribute of strength. In our film opening, this is seen in the fact that our male protagonist has had the ability to protect himself from harm and survive for a long period of time independently, which also corresponds to the view of males as not needing to be dependent or reliant on the support of others to look after and protect themselves, unlike the representation of women who are reliant on their partners. However, this convention can be challenged by the end of our opening when he is placed in a position of vulnerability when coming face to face with a zombie, suggesting he may not have succeeded in protecting himself from harm's way. The typical perception of men being in a greater position of power and dominance in contrast to females can also be seen in the role of the zombie. It is typical in media that women are meant to be the damsel in distress and men as being the individuals who are more fearing and retain the most power over a situation. This influenced our decision to have the character of the zombie be acted by a male instead of a female, as for our audience they would be more expectant to see a male play the role of a zombie, as it would suggest the element of danger and power they have. Age was another social group that was evident in our film opening. The protagonist in our film is of a similar age to our target audience range. However, the character our audience believe is of a slightly older age, as we established in the type of plain clothing he is wearing, which counters the traditional view that young people wear more fashionable and designer clothing. Furthermore, our film also challenges the stereotype that older people are more wise and smarter than younger people by choosing to have our protagonist be of a younger age in order to help illustrate his capacity of being able to look after himself despite the traditional perception that younger people are inexperienced and lack knowledge in contrast to older people whose range of knowledge is greater. Our film opening, however, supports the stereotype that younger people are stronger and able to care for themselves independently, much greater than older people who are more reliant on others to care for themselves, as our protagonist is strong enough to support himself for a month on his own. Age is also represented in the character of the zombie and the use of costume. In today's society, it is stereotypically viewed that wearing hoodies is linked with young males and the association with danger and recklessness. Our film opening therefore conforms this stereotype as our zombie is seen wearing a hoodie. This is used to help illustrate the zombie's age in association with his violent appearance and persona. The social groups in our media product can also be identified by the race and ethnicity of our characters. Our media product challenges the stereotypical perception that ethnic minorities obtain a smaller role in society than the white majority. This idea is challenged due to the fact that our main protagonist of The Survivor is played by a Pakistani male, acquiring a key role in our plot and which therefore shows how he is placed with a degree of significance. This idea is also disregarded in our media product as all our other characters are played by actors of a non-white origin, which counters the belief that the white majority means they are more likely to feature in films as the lead role, as they are not featured in our film. Furthermore, the stereotypical view that all others play supporting roles in media is also challenged in our product, as the role of the main protagonist and zombie are played by actors of an Indian and Pakistani background, an ethnic minority, which therefore betrays how our film strays from presenting common stereotypes, as we opt to incorporate actors from a variety of ethnic backgrounds. Who would be the audience for your product? According to our pre-production questionnaire, around 58.6% of voters were male and 93.1% were aged between the ages of 15 and 20. This indicates to us that we ought to aim our film at a predominantly male teenage audience. Furthermore, around 72.4% of voters preferred to see a male protagonist as opposed to a female one, allowing us to provide our main target audience with the protagonist that they had intended to see and possibly relate to more. However, this being said, our film opening could also be of huge interest to our female audience, as the element of tension within a film is something which all shades of a teenage audience find appealing, and is something we portrayed in our own film opening. Furthermore, we felt that we could attract the specific target audience, as thriller action films tend to appeal greatly with a teenage audience, and to a variety of other age groups conventionally through the use of relatable characters and themes throughout. For example, in our film opening, the main protagonist is situated within the same age range of the target audience, which allows them to envision themselves in the character's shoes. In addition to this, young teenagers tend to enjoy aspects such as suspense and tension, which action thrillers deliver rather than something more relaxing. This therefore means our audience would be appropriate for the type of film we have produced, as our film is reflective of this theme. The age range of our target audience also played a key part in our choice of institution, as most teenagers are attracted to films that are produced by big Hollywood and global institutions such as Warner Brothers. Similar films to our own, such as I Am Legend, which was produced and distributed by Warner Brothers, was highly credited and appraised by people of a similar age group to our target audience. This enabled us to ensure that our film would directly match the interests of our target audience, as our media product was greatly inspired by the themes and ideas of this movie. Overall, just like I Am Legend, we also decided to rate our film 15+, as it contained a great level of tension and fear, like the appearance of the zombie, which would be considered as inappropriate for any viewer younger than this age. However, this also meant we could successfully direct our film to an appropriate age category that typically enjoyed these types of features in films which matched our genre. How well did you attract and address your audience? One way in which we did this was by the use of Google Forms, which enabled us to create a questionnaire in our research and planning stage that gathered information about the interests of our intended target audience, so we could portray these requirements in our own film opening. For example, through looking at the responses given in the 15 to 20 category, we could establish an idea of what to include and what to avoid in our film, such as what conventions and themes of a thriller sci-fi film our audience expected to see. This influenced our decisions to have our main protagonist isolated and by himself for the majority of our opening, and incorporate the gradual building up of the climax. This meant we could attract our audience's demands directly. Through also conducting research on the opinions of other age ranges, such as 12 to 15 and 31 to 35, also allowed us to widen our appeal, whilst feedback also showed how leaving our audience in suspense was the best element of our film opening, and was something we made sure to accomplish. Furthermore, distributing our questionnaire to all members of our school allowed for us to obtain a large number of responses, reflecting greater representation of our audience's opinions. Another way in which we attracted our audience was by gaining feedback from other media students. For example, by presenting our idea to numerous classmates allowed for us to gain a better overview of the appeal of our film and a perception of how well our film attracted our target audience and whether it was something they would be interested in and continue watching, something which was beneficial as our target audience reflected the ages of the fellow people in our class. The feedback received also allowed us to make adjustments which best catered for our audience's demands. For example, removing the gunshot at the end of the film, which created confusion for our audience. We also gained crucial feedback from our teachers on making our film more attractive, such as reorganizing the structure of our narrative to make the action lead up to our ending, in order to create more excitement, tension and thrill, so our audience members would continue watching. We also chose to remove particular sounds that did not suit the atmosphere of danger and suspense we intended to capture, and which echoed our storyline of living in constant caution, a key and main element in relation to our genre. In addition, a key way we attracted the attention of our zombie fanatics was through the detail of our zombies' makeup. When conducting research on the appearance of zombies featured in films such as Warm Bodies and 28 Days Later, we could see that a running theme in both films was the use of dark-coloured makeup. This influenced our decision to use colours such as purple and blue, which created the effect of our zombies' wasted and out of control appearance. This consequently enabled us to create the element of fear for our audience, which was something key when attracting our zombie fanatics, who were particularly drawn by the aspect of terror, danger and fear felt when hearing of a zombie film, and was something we believe we achieved through the feedback of our characters' portrayal.